Hey, it's me, Sheldon. I wanted to have a discussion about identity theft and targeting, the feeling of neural attack. I kind of convinced Wayne is guilty of identity theft, and there's obviously some kind of government conspiracy. And obviously, I'm kind of convinced that obviously there's corruption, there's mafias in the government. So it's kind of pointless to really be there's the feeling of obviously there's betrayal. I didn't betray anyone, but the thing is I'm getting the feeling that there's such thing as a cyber throne, and there's a person that's fixing a future, not me, but there is a group that is has a big mafia. There's a really, really big mafia. It's not me. So the thing is, I'm convinced that someone's trying to take an identity to have control of a mafia. And if it's a Irish mafia, English mafia, German mafia, or it was a Albanian mafia, Mexican mafia, or even a worldwide order. So the thing is, obviously, that you think that there's some type of you should be aware of certain things, but the thing is, I'm getting the idea. I'm not necessarily. I haven't caused anyone a nuisance. I'm pretty quiet minded. I'm to the point where I'm not necessarily looking to find these mafias. It's almost to the point where I'm convinced that there's order to a mafia, to a cyber throne. I'm convinced even presidents are part of a mafia. Donald Trump has a mafia. Joe Biden has a mafia. Kamala Harris may have a mafia. Each president. So it's to the point where it's a bit disturbing because there's no such. It's time to bring up things equal. Don't make you believe things are equal. If they're part of a mafia because then there's that rival that doesn't believe in equal. So let's be honest about who's becoming president because it's as if to be honest and obviously um I'm getting to it's a bit disturbing because I'm getting the idea that there's a child that wants or there's a police station that wants another family to have control of a mafia and they're using this feeling of a neural attack and then presidents are making excuse as mental illness or it's not even mental illness it's as if they're involving obstruction of justice and criminal behavior too. So the thing is I'm convinced that there are officers that want control of a mafia. They're like police officers that want control of a mafia and some things you would think it would be a bit unnoticeable without you trying to. The reason why I say that because things there's such thing as a fixed spectrum to the point where you don't necessarily have to give think that for them to think they're worried about someone you giving them. It's almost like things are being spectrum to the point where there's a law of attraction. But the thing is, um, it's almost like I almost feel like there's idiots that there's a lot more idiots that out there than actually. So right now, myself, I feel like I try to keep a bit of a distance every now and then. I feel like it can rub off to your own subconscious if there's someone eavesdropping to the point where you can almost make yourself, you know, at risk. The thing is, I'm speaking in a kind of like logical at least, and I'm getting the idea that America's collapsing, or at least I probably might not necessarily live in America forever. Things are changing. Um, the reason I kind of things are not really working out. Each world leader, I don't recite them finding a new safe zone for me, but I don't feel safe in America. or even it might not even be, even if it was reshaped America, it'd probably be better to stay back in America. But the thing is, there is an issue where there is a child attempting to take an identity, so it's a neural identity, and it's convincing my own father. I kind of convinced my father doesn't understand his own risk. So the thing is, I'm not the type of person to give threats or anything like that. The thing is, I'm kind of exhausted. I kind of get the idea when things become repetitive, or then someone else gives the threats. But the thing is, it's becoming a form of news, and it's a feeling of police corruption. It's not necessarily me creating a feeling of a nuisance, or even a feeling of cyberbully. So the thing is, a nuisance, what I mean is electronic harassment, or the feeling of electronic tormenting, or the thing is the electronic spectrums of radio being the feeling of there is some type of simulation that of a live augmented audience, or someone that is spying, attempting to have control over a mindset to appear agitated. There's ways to, if I was using a live augmented tool to eavesdrop on a person, it can create the feeling of erratic behavior, because the feeling of it's an unknown person, the feeling that there is there is like I said, an intruder. But the thing is, I convinced there's a gold digger that really wants war with Sinaloa cartel, or even what war is cartel, or even the Irish cartel, or because I'm convinced that they all can recite Sheldon Maton. They all can recite their such thing as world order or even cyberthrone. But the thing is, who's fixing the spectrum? Is it their enemies fixing the spectrum to Sheldon Maton that's causing a bit domino effect? If I had the right influence, or even the right fixed spectrum, you would never think an insult. You would actually think that things are improving. So just imagine if there was a fixed spectrum by an Irish person, or a German person, or an English person that actually had intentions to benefit, or at least convinced that there is more room to gain, or even to create a domino effect. But the thing is, when there's an enemy creating the domino effect, it's important for each cartel to actually recite Shalom Matum, the cyber throne of each key of the world order. So it's like a big bank. Okay, it's like the world's. It's like It's a bigger secret break of all. It's everyone. So or even. So the thing is, I don't necessarily. So it's almost to the point where mindful of there's a group fixing my spectrum, the feeling of broadcast, or even mirroring my devices. There's some when I'm looking at my devices being mirrored, there's a spectrum that's communicating. The feeling of if it's someone eavesdropping, that's a spectrum. The feeling of intruder, or radio, or even just be aware of it. Or even, you know, in America, I guess it's becoming a bit. It's becoming the feeling of I don't even think I'm gonna get getting close to any kind of punishment, because I kind of convinced when there's someone using the feeling of cyberbullying or even torture, I want there's no punishment for me, because there's a fixed spectrum. The feeling of, let's say another error. Let's say it's fine to be honest about it, because eventually even those errors are going to be subconscious, that there is a AI order that is too subconscious, that there is a stronger order that causes a domino effect. The thing is, it's important to actually embed intelligence. Not necessarily. I'm not the person to really be too subconscious of frustration. Um, Sometimes I'm trying to get over the frustration. Frustration kind of feeds the feeling of short-term people and having control over their own minds and dominating their minds. That's actually something that if I was in a classroom to learn how to feed off frustration. If I was working with Donald Trump, no offense, I might not even be your friend, or I might be your friend. Who knows? But the thing is, once you start to work in the mindsets of frustration or even psych attacks, then you really get. You don't need a pistol. You don't need a gun. You learn to use your mind. You learn to have control of others, and it just becomes more of a oppressive thing. And the thing is, it's sharp. It's impressive. It's sharp to saw, and be approachable. And it's mindful. That's how I really wanted to actually come out when I actually talk to. But you can't really be straight too often, because then it's just like thing is at least get the idea that I have an enemy that is interrupting the spectrum, and then not just that. There's someone else trying to pose, or a younger version. Let's say there was a 16-year-old or even a 10-year-old. I'm convinced there's several neighbors trying to oppose a neural identity, an eyesight of a Sheldon Matum. Rosa Torres shouldn't be giving the clothes of Sheldon Matum to any neighbor. So I'm kind of convinced that Rosa Torres is befriending an Irish cartel or a German cartel, or it was a English cartel. The thing is, there's a spectrum of an enemy of their own enemy sharing thought to Sheldon Matum. And it's becoming it's to the point where you should take it where there's treasure. There's treasure involved. The feeling of fixing the spectrum is actually have a treasure of its own, or it's actually making it much worse. The thing is, there's a lot more much thing that means that there's so much fixed destinies that can actually be fixed, or it's almost like the next final destination. But the thing is, it's not. It don't mean to make it worse than it appears. There's ways to secure, and there's ways to make sure who's alive and who's not. But the thing is, it's something else when you get the impression that somebody else is trying to like pose or as a brother of Sheldon, or the thing is, or even have commands over the cyber throne of a Mexican mafia or as a Latino mafia. The thing is, or even if it was a world order that had another movement. That thing is, other treasures to gain. But the thing is, this is it's important to have this discussion, because I'm kind of convinced I'm experiencing identity theft, and it's important to actually follow up, with geniuses, or even to follow up. Just mention it, because it's not normal to no one just to correct us this to be making noise and you don't hear anyone else's word. So it's something else, man. Say something.